All right, when I have these double passages, I really like to flip things around if the question suggests that I should. So it's saying, what would the paleontologists in text 2 most likely say about the researcher's initial thought in text 1? So this doesn't have to work for everyone. There's more than one way to do this, but I like to then read text 2 first, since those are the people who I really care about. Let me see what they think, and then I'll relate it back to text 1 after I know what the paleontologists themselves think. So we're going to text 2. Paleontologists were excited to discover a second small fossil that is similar to the strange whatever fossil, but was part of the lower body along with a bird-like skull. Detailed studies of both fossils revealed several traits that are found in lizards but not in dinosaurs or birds. Therefore, paleontologists think, here we go, the two creatures were probably unusual lizards, even though the skulls looked avian at first. So whatever these paleontologists, I don't even know what they're on about, but they think, why does it keep happening? They're lizards, not birds. Something like that. Okay, so now let's go to text 1 and see what they're talking about. So a tiny unusual fossil in a piece of 99 million year old amber is of the extinct species whatever. This fossil consists of a rounded skull with a thin snout and a large eye socket. Because these features look like they are avian or related to birds, researchers initially thought that the fossil might be the smallest avian dinosaur ever found. Well, what would passage 2 think about that? They would say, no, it's actually a lizard. So yeah, it's okay. Several traits are found in lizards, but not in dinosaurs. Yeah, so it's lizards. Okay, so let's see. I don't know. It is understandable. So what do they say about the researchers' initial thoughts? They're understandable because the fossil does look like it could be related to birds, even though it probably is a lizard. So that kind of involves both things and kind of ends on the right note that it's a lizard. Understandable might seem weird to you because it sounds like text 2 is disagreeing with text 1. So understandable sounds like a positive word. Why would that be there? But notice the beginning of text 2 is saying that like they're excited to discover this thing, and they did think that it was a little bird-like, right? So there's a little bit of that, but they do end in a different place than they start. Let's just keep going. Let's look at B. It is confusing because it isn't clear what caused the researchers to think that it might be related to birds. No, they're not confused about the study. Like they have a different conclusion, but they're not interested in like the origin of the hypothesis. It's more about the conclusion. C, it is flawed because the researchers mistakenly assumed that this thing must be a lizard. Okay, that's more tempting, but that's the opposite, right? So this is maybe flipping the two texts, right? So this might be a trap if you misunderstood the question. So text 2 is saying that text 1 is flawed. So text 2 says 1 is flawed because the researchers in 1 mistakenly assumed that it's a lizard. No, they mistakenly assumed that it's a bird, right? Text 2 is correcting that and saying the mistake is you thought it was a bird, it's actually a lizard. So this is using a lot of the same words to try to mislead you, but pay attention to the connections between those words. This is the opposite of what they're saying. So no, this is a trap. D, it is reasonable because the thing is about the same size as the skull of the second fossil, but is shaped differently. No, again, like reasonable sounds a lot like understandable. So you might be like, oh, well, same word, same idea, but it's ending in a different place, right? It's talking about the shape of the skull, but we want to know, again, we want to get that lizard bird thing in there. So D is not getting the fact that it's a lizard. So A is really the only one that hits this idea. So maybe you could have gotten that by doing the passages in order, but honestly, for me, it really does help because I'm always afraid of something like C, where it's the right ideas almost, but it's kind of flipped of who we're talking about. I'm very afraid with these double questions that I will kind of flip who the order is. So that's why I use my scrap paper to write down a dumb summary, and I'm always trying to go in an order that's going to match the order in the question. So try that out, see if it works for you, and maybe it'll help you get these right.